the scariest part of my talk is over, walking down those stairs. Have you ever felt stuck in a story that is not working anymore? That was me in September 2022. I was 2 years into my entrepreneurial journey, and I was curled up on my big blue couch, compulsively twirling my hair, staring blankly at the wall, thinking on repeat, what the hell am I doing with my life? What the hell am I doing with my life? What the hell am I doing with my life? Round of applause if anyone in this room has ever sat on a couch and contemplated. Yes, thunderous applause, thunderous applause. Keep it going if it has happened in the last 6 months. Yes, I feel you, I see you. Yeah, it's not fun, right? How did I get here? 2 years before, I had been laid off from my dream job at Airbnb. After 15 years telling other people's stories for organizations like Airbnb, the Obama campaign, even a wild summer working on a Bravo dating show, I didn't know who I was without these cool companies next to my name. Cue massive identity crisis. Very fun. Highly recommend. So for the first time, I had to look back at my own stories, at my own twisty, windy career to figure out what I really wanted to do next. Not just the next opportunity that was going to take me somewhere, but make an intentional choice. So, as I looked back across this career, doing a whole bunch of different stuff, some patterns emerged really quickly. The first pattern was that I love helping regular, everyday people use their personal stories to create some sort of change in their world or in the world. And the other pattern that emerged is that I really, really do not like trying to navigate corporate bureaucracy or play office politics. Anyone else? Yeah, seeing some nods? Seeing some nods? Okay, great. Yeah, not just me. So 2 + 2 = 4. That realization gave me the confidence to decide to not go get another real job, but instead go into business for myself. I decided to call myself a strategic storytelling consultant. Sounds fancy, right? Also, pretty ambiguous. What does that actually mean? To be honest, I don't think I really knew either. So while I knew that I really wanted to help people use their personal stories to create human connection and make meaningful change, I was also stuck in a story that I believed there was only one possible way for me to make money doing that. And that was what I had been doing for the last 15 years. Corporate narratives, social content, and content, period. We're in the age of content, we all know, right? So I started trying to find clients, anyone who would have me. But it was a real push. It was a real strive. I really had to grasp to find anyone who wanted to work with a strategic storytelling consultant. And then I could feel it in my body that maybe something wasn't quite right. I felt that pit of dread in my stomach anytime I got an email from my client. I stayed up many late nights swirling over some small, tiny, not really needed detail of a deck that I was building. And I knew in my bones that this wasn't right. Back to September 2022. On my big blue couch, compulsively twirling my hair, staring at the wall, wondering what the hell I'm doing with my life. I had just finished a very big client who was pretty emotionally draining and misaligned. And I had no new clients in sight. I didn't know how I was going to pay the rent. I was really contemplating, should I just go get a real job? So you know what I did? I took out my phone and I doomscrolled Instagram, obviously. Yeah, so I can see some of you relate. Yeah, because clearly the answers to all my life's problems were going to be found in a 90-second reel and a carousel of inspirational quotes. So I would scroll and I would scroll, and then I would tell myself all the things that I should be doing instead. And then I would scroll and I would scroll, and I would feel so ashamed that I couldn't motivate myself to actually do them. And I would scroll and I would scroll, and I felt so stuck. But then I got an ad, a very well-targeted ad on my Instagram feed for Story 2022 with the theme, "Don't you know who you are?" Oof. Okay, learn more. I learned that Story is the world's premier gathering for storytellers and creators who are looking to use story to change the world. Hey, that's me. They have like a whole conference for that, for people like me? Yeah. I bought a ticket, a virtual ticket. I was not able to make it here in Nashville in person immediately. Round of applause if you too also found Story either this year or in years previous for very well-targeted Instagram ads. Yes, shout out to the Astoria team and the Louder team who is so good at that. So I finally had something to look forward to for the first time in weeks. When the day came, I got back on my big blue couch. And this time, I sat up a little straighter. I opened my laptop and I logged on to Story. And I was transported to Neverland. It was incredible. Who was in the room here for Story 2022? Yes, I am jealous. It looked awesome, and being here now, I know it must have been incredible. Was there anyone virtual with me in the virtual space? Yes, amazing. Nice to see you in the flesh. And so for 2 days, I sat on that couch and I immersed myself in the incredible speakers who just lit me up. Speakers like the amazing Michael McRae, who talked about, who talked about the way that he uses story circles to bring people together across deep divides. It sounded so cool. Or Dr. Robin Anderson, who had the amazing title of Curiositeer, who talked all about the power of curiosity and how curiosity is actually giving a damn enough to try a different story, to experiment, to learn. And then, of course, Harris III, who is just like always inspirational, but who showed me the power that you can just dream up a world's premier conference gathering for storytellers and creatives and make that happen year after year. In the chat, I met people from all over the world, artists and activists, teachers and preachers, poets, marketers, people who were all using stories in their own way to create change in this world. I felt full body tingles for the entire 2 days. It was like I finally found my people. And I just was popping off with ideas for how I too wanted to use personal storytelling to help people make change in the world. It was so impactful to see an infinite number of ways that people were using their story to create change. And I realized if they could do it, I could do it too. That night, I pulled out my journal and I wrote an entry entitled, "Inspired by Story." And in it, I wrote something that surprised even myself. I am both inspired and convinced that I want to be up on that stage, that I could put together a talk that would spark ripples in people. What I experienced at Story 2022 is what psychologists call vicarious mastery. It's the phenomenon that when you are at the start of something hard, something that feels really challenging, like maybe I don't think I could actually do that, that feels like, I don't think I am capable for that. when we hear a story of someone who has achieved the thing that we want to achieve, we start to see that it is, in fact, possible. We start to see a potential path to get there. Maybe we're even inspired to take a first step. And that's why sharing your story is such a gift, because you never know who might be curled up on their couch and needs to hear your story so that they believe it's possible. So after Story 2022, I started doing what I now call narrative navigation, where I use my past, present, and possible stories to create my direction forward. So I started with the possible. It was like I time traveled to the future, where I could see myself standing on the story stage. And I got to ask myself, what kind of person might stand on this story stage? Probably a person who helps people use their personal stories to create the lives, careers, companies, communities of their dreams. Probably someone who approaches their work with great care and confidence. Okay, cool. Future direction. Now I had to look to my past and understand, what superpowers could I now bring to this journey? One of them was I like to think I ask a pretty good question. What are my values? And what's the bigger purpose that I want to drive me to be my fuel in this journey? I found some stories that helped me understand that. And then here I was back in the present. And I had to take a page out of Dr. Robin's book and get curious. And I just started to try stuff and adopted a growth mindset. So I started calling myself a story coach. And I launched my first small group community where I help people use their stories to shape their careers. And I also started one-on-one coaching with people. And I loved it, still do. It lit me up, but more than that, I could see the transformation in my clients. Not only did they land the new job or start their business, but they walked through the world more in their light, in their confidence, knowing that their stories had power. I started a really fun monthly storytelling night in San Francisco, where I'm from, called Storytime, where I gathered people around relatable themes like comfort food and music to my ears. And the sound of people sharing their stories and creating connections filled my soul. I know of at least one couple that got together at that, and many longtime friends. And then I even was able to bring storytelling into corporations. This time, not to help them with their social strategy, but to help their individual team members use storytelling to understand their impact and collectively understand the story that they were building together. It's so fun. The clarity that I got from Story 2022 didn't make this journey easy. It has not been easy. It's been hard, but it made it possible. So here's my question to you. What will Story 2025 make possible for you? How do you turn this from not just another conference, but to the catalyst to your most aligned chapter forward? I have 3 practices that you might want to try for the rest of today. The first, pay attention. What stories or speakers give you those full body tingles? Who or what makes you think, maybe I could do that too? The next, explore your narrative. What possible futures can you see now? What past experiences and superpowers can you draw on as you move forward? And what experiments can you try, even in this present moment, to just take one step? And then lastly, share generously, because you never know who needs to hear your story, and your story is such a gift. You could give someone their own vicarious mastery moment. And if you would like to do this in community, I invite you to my breakout session, which is happening in the next round up in the forum. Or if you'd like to be in community, I invite you to join my community with that QR code. 3 years ago, I was on my big blue couch, compulsively twirling my hair. Today, I'm standing on the story stage. Wow. A lot can happen in 3 years. Thank you. You are all now part of my story forever, and I am deeply grateful to you all for that. But I'll leave you with this. I also know that each and every one of you has a story that can and will change the world. Like Oprah, you got a story, and you got a story, and you got a story. And that there is someone in this audience right now who is just waiting for that story to ignite them. Maybe that person is you. Thank you.